Welcome to Constructive Conversations, the podcast dedicated to raising the standard of excellence in light construction. I'm your host, Colton Lingle. Each episode will explore the people, products, and processes that are shaping the future of this industry. From practical insights to proven best practices, you'll discover how to build better businesses, relationships, and buildings. This is where excellence isn't just expected, it's the baseline. Get ready, because today's constructive conversation starts now. Welcome back to Constructive Conversations. I'm Colton Lingle. Today, we are going to talk about how we can use quality craftsmanship to set ourselves apart, and what does quality craftsmanship look like. So that's what we're talking about today. We'll cover a couple of things that I think are important to making sure that, one, you have a great product that looks amazing, but two, you have a great process that your clients really enjoy having you there and really enjoy the process rather than just the product. Because this year we're talking all about sanctuary. And when we go in and work on a project, we're not just trying to create sanctuary for our client after the project's over, but we're also looking to create sanctuary in the midst of doing the project. We don't want to ruin that experience for our client and just ruin it to the point that they're just dying to have us gone. Which, of course, they're probably already wanting us gone because they want their house to be back to normal. They want this project to be done. But let's talk about what that craftsmanship looks like. So first thing, when I was thinking through what is quality craftsmanship and how can a homeowner tell, or how can another contractor tell that you're a person that does quality work, that you're going to be the right person to create sanctuary for your client. And the first thing I came up with was, do we use up-to-date techniques and technology to get the job done? Here where we're at in Western North Carolina, it is still up to this point until I need to go through and read the updated code book, the 2024. That doesn't take into effect until July. But at this current moment, we are allowed to use ledger boards on our decks instead of using joist hangers, which is great until you think about the fact that ledger boards are wood. We live in a rainforest. Water and wood don't mix well. Well, they do mix well. They just also tend to, the water tends to destroy the wood. So over time, you end up with a ledger board that's not holding up a whole lot. So instead, what we like to do is we're going to use joist hangers to install our joists. Not necessary, above code, but it's one of the things that we do to bring quality to our projects, bring craftsmanship to our projects. Oh, by the way, when we install those joist hangers, we're going to use two fairly new pieces of technology. One, a battery-powered palm nailer. We're not running around with cords on a job site very often, and so we're going to use, or hoses for that matter, so we're going to use a battery-powered palm nailer. Milwaukee makes it. It's not that expensive. If you're listening to this as a contractor, I highly recommend getting one. My crew loves it. They really benefit from having it to use. The other thing that we have is a Pazload metal connector nailer that is also, again, cordless. It runs on gas and a battery. If you've run Pazload tools, same thing, same idea. It works great. It speeds up the process so much so that hanging a ledger board isn't actually that much faster than the way that we hang our joist hangers. So that's one example. Another example, are you using structural screws instead of through bolts? So often we find that people are still taking the time to use through bolts instead of structural screws. Unless an engineer specifically specs those through bolts, we're going to be using structural screws. Why? Because we feel like it creates a better end product for our client. You don't have these big old bulky structural or through bolts sticking out everywhere that you have to look at and deal with and work around. You have these fairly small structural screws holding everything together. Oh, by the way, if you have to replace something, fix something down the road, something happens, maybe they add on to the deck or whatever, take the right bit, pull those things out, put in the new section of deck, bam, really quick. Through bolts just take a lot more time. And also, again, create that awkward spot. Hey, Trex. Trex came for a visit. Create that awkward spot where, catch point for people potentially. So, finally, if you're a homeowner looking at this, how well taken care of are their tools? Are they using the most up-to-date tools available? Or are they still go out there with a bunch of corded tools trying to get stuff done? That usually is a sign. I try not to throw shade on too many people. It's a sign of one of two things. One, they're hyper budget conscious, or two, they're pretty new at what they're doing, and that's all that they could afford. I'm not trying to throw shade on the new guys that's all they can afford right now. Because I have some good friends, some subcontractors that's where they're at. It's not necessarily a clue that they're going to do horrible work. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that if you're hiring somebody to do a job, do they come with the right tools? Do they come well equipped to do the job? Or are they showing up and trying to make do with just any old tools that they have lying around? That's a good tell for if these contractors are going to work with quality or not. So, do they use up-to-date building techniques and technology? Secondly, I have my notes right here. And do they have the small details right? Little things like I just talked about, joist hangers. A lot of people use joist hangers, might not necessarily still mean that they're working with quality, because you go and you look and they're not using the right nails for the joist hangers. Just because you're using joist hangers doesn't mean it's perfect. You actually have to use the right nails that are spec'd by the manufacturer for those hangers or for it to work. Oh, by the way, do they have all of the fasteners required for that joist hanger? How many times have we stepped under a deck, myself or my guys, pointed out and said, oh, look, they're missing like half their fasteners in here. And then you realize that somebody's been on that deck who knows how many times with the potential of it not failing. Thankfully, didn't fail. But there's always that potential. And so we're trying to avoid even that potential. Hi, doggy. So are they putting all the fasteners that they need to? When you look at the deck boards, are they putting two fasteners through each deck board at each joist? Or are they just trying to get away with maybe one? Or are they skipping some? Are they actually making sure they come through? When we come and we install our decks, especially our higher end decking products like Trex, AZEK, TimberTech, all of those, and do what we call screw and plug, where we install the screw and then we put a plug in on top of that screw. Are we putting plugs in over top of all of our screws? Do we miss any? It's pretty easy if you're not paying attention to miss some, but that's part of our craftsmanship. That's part of our quality that we assure, is that we're going to come in and check to make sure we have all of those. And if we miss some, even if it's one or two plugs, we're not going to be like, oh, we'll get it the next time we're in the area. No, we're going to take care of it when they call and have that problem. Let's see. What else? Are they using straight cuts? This is going to go back to tools and technology, and the most up-to-date tools and technology. It's an expensive tool. It's worth its weight in gold, worth every penny I paid for it. A track saw. Track saws have changed the game. No longer do you have to have the steadiest hand on the job site to get that perfectly straight cut. Just lay that track down, set the saw on it, plunge it, and go. With a little bit of a chalk line to mark it, it's perfect. Almost every time. It's simple stuff like that that we can do to set ourselves apart to say, hey, we're coming in, we're taking care of these little details. We're taking the time to get that. Are we taking the time to clean up all those little scraps that you end up with? Another one that my guys are really great at that they give me a hard time for is the little yellow tags that come with the pressure treated lumber from Yellowwood that we get from our BFS location. All those yellow tags still sitting there. We pull all of those off. Those do not disintegrate over time. They will stay there. I have pulled boards out of the dirt on a previous job. The deck was probably 10, 15, 20 years old. Who knows? And the board itself was rotted away. And sure enough, sitting there at the bottom was that little tag from the lumberyard how many ever years ago. So those things don't disintegrate. We pull them off. We make sure they disappear. Get thrown away. We don't just drop them on the ground. We make sure that we take them away and get rid of them. Those are the things that we do to ensure quality for our clients and make sure the experience is what we want the experience to be. Another one that I have wrestled with over the years is, do you show your clients your mistakes? This one's tough. You should show your clients your mistakes. It stinks. I do it all the time because we're not perfect. We're not going to be perfect. We're working with imperfect material on an imperfect site, and we're not perfect ourselves. So of course things are going to get messed up. We obviously try and keep that to a minimum, and very rarely do we have anything major. And if there's major things, we fix them. But the minor things that nobody's ever going to see, even if we don't think the homeowner's ever going to find it, we're still going to point it out to the homeowner. Why? Because the homeowner assumes that we're imperfect. They know that we're not perfect. They know that the wood isn't perfect. So there's going to be issues. So rather than let them wonder and worry and come up with all these things, we're going to go and point out where we made mistakes. You know what? 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, the homeowner is very understanding, and only occasionally do they create a problem. You know what? I can handle fixing those problems for the occasional client that has an issue with that. Most of the time, they're right. We do need to fix it. But most of it's when they point it out that way. But the vast majority of cases, my guys are great. When I used to have to be in the field, I think I was pretty good at it too, where we can hide our mistakes fairly well and make them look intentional. Tell the guys all the time, it doesn't have to be look perfect. It has to look intentional. So we try and make things look intentional so that it doesn't just completely ruin the entire project when one tiny little thing doesn't look quite right. It doesn't have to ruin the quality of the project just because you make a mistake. But you should still point it out to your client because they know you make mistakes. They're waiting for you to be honest. I've had clients come up to me before and say, I was waiting for you to point out that mistake because I watched your guys make it. Let that sink in for a second. They saw my guys make a mistake and they were wondering if we were going to be honest about it. Thankfully, we were honest about it and we told them, and they were totally understanding. They were totally fine with it, but it's meant a lot to them that we were willing to come and address our mistakes with them directly. That we weren't trying to hide everything, that we weren't trying to cover it up, that we took care of it. I tell the guys all the time, there are mistakes that we leave on the projects, and we call them our Easter eggs. Clients will find the Easter eggs. They're going to be mistakes. We'll point out our Easter eggs so that they can find them. But most of the time, they're fun little Easter eggs to think about. Unless it's structural or unless it's going to cause a leak, then we can leave it. Obviously within reason. So that's number 3. And number 4, another good big one that I had a conversation with a client with just this past week was, do we treat their property with care? Now, this starts all the way at the very beginning. This is something that I am maniacal about when we go onto a job site for the first time on a sales call. I always wipe my feet at the door. I don't care if my boots came back from, I don't know, the dry cleaners or something where they're perfectly spotless. I'm still going to wipe my feet in the door because I've created that habit because I'm trying to take care of their home, quite frankly, better than I would take care of mine. Because it's their home and I want to take, from start to finish, I want to take care of their home like it was my own or better. Because I want them to know that I'm taking care of their home so I can take care of their project. So, am I wiping my feet when I walk in the door for the first time? And then every time thereafter, am I making sure that, we're not scratching up the walls or the floors when we're inside? We don't spend a whole lot of time inside, but when we go through the house to get to, sometimes the only access point to a deck is through the house. We had that this past week, and our guys are having to go through the house with some of the material, not all of it, but some of it, some of the tools. We're being incredibly careful. That means we don't come with a arm full of tools that we could drop 3 things and wreck the floor. We're taking 2 or 3 things at a time, just enough to get it in, out without wrecking everything. We're being very conscientious of that. Even their outside, even places that we can technically fix it because, we just need a paintbrush and a little bit of paint. If we scratch up the outside, yes, but we're going to try to avoid doing that at all cost. We're trying to be very careful, very conscientious, and take care of our client's property from beginning to end. Again, sanctuary. This is their sanctuary, and we're trying our best not to disturb it at all, but obviously we're going to disturb it some, so we're trying to keep that to a minimum. So, how do you treat your client's property? Are you wiping your feet when you come in? That may mean that in some cases, when I go into a house, especially a house that I know the client is very conscientious, or I know that maybe I just came from the county dump. That is, when it rains, it gets muddy. That mud is stinky. It's filthy. So I take my boots off. I walk through the house carrying my boots, put my boots on once we get out to whatever deck that we have to replace or whatever. But I'll take my boots off at the door. And then how do you treat their furniture? A lot of times when we come into a house, we to work on their project, their deck, we've got to take all the furniture off the deck before we can do the work. And then we store that furniture somewhere. Then we put the furniture back on when we're done. Did we take a picture of where the furniture goes? Did we make sure that when we put it back, the furniture goes back where it's supposed to be? Or is the homeowner going to have to come back and rearrange it how they want it done because we weren't careful enough and conscientious enough to do it the right way and take enough notes or whatever we needed to do to make sure it was back the way they wanted it or the way they had it? Obviously, sometimes then they'll rearrange it, but we at least try and put it back the way it was so that they can do whatever they want to with it after that. Or if they're home when we're finishing, we'll say, hey, this is how the furniture was. Would you like it back this way or would you like it some other way? We try to be incredibly conscious when it comes to that. Again, we make mistakes. We're not perfect. But these are some of the things that I've tried to teach our guys that I know we practice and I know that we do really well. And some of the things we're still trying to work on to get better at, to make sure that we provide that quality experience to our clients and we create that sanctuary for them. So we are using, to create that quality, we're using up-to-date techniques and technology. We're doing the small details right. We're showing the client our mistakes, and we're taking incredible care of the property while we're there. Those are the things, a few of the things that I think help set us apart and provide a quality product for our clients and give them sanctuary. Thanks for listening to Constructive Conversations. Stay humble, stay busy. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. on Constructive Conversations, where we're raising the standard of excellence one episode at a time. If you found today's discussion valuable, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you know a homeowner or contractor who could benefit from these insights, share this podcast with them. Until next time, keep building smarter, keep raising the bar, and keep the conversation constructive.